Folks, the big lesson is always not how you start, it's how you end. I got to give you a little bit of history because recent history is as we end up seeing Vélez maybe as even a feel-good story, one of those Cinderella stories. Although Vélez, I wouldn't consider them a Cinderella, although the way that they performed over the last couple of semesters and knowing how they started, they came out of the gates very slowly and it seemed like to capitulate all over again after losing to River 5-0. But something turned around, and you have to give a great deal of credit to Gustavo Quinteros on that. That he's able to right the ship, identify what was wrong, identify who was doing the wrong, and start bringing in players that identified, that look to want to be part of Vélez and make the team as successful as possible. And since then, they've been a very solid team. One of the more solid teams in Argentine football, and why not? A team that has won over their fan base again and has them believing. He has to be looked at as one of the better coaches in the league, as one of the coaches that has really made a difference. And why not? Maybe if there was a Coach of the Year designation, he should win it. He should be able to be considered that. That's what ends up making this game and this league so interesting, because despite all the turnover that there's been, despite all the players that have left, despite all the money that's been lost, despite all the transfer sagas that have occurred, they've persisted. And now they're in the final of the Copa de la Liga with a chance to get into Libertadores and win a league that they haven't won in almost a decade, Vélez. You have to go back to the first Ricardo Gareca era, where he ends up making Vélez one of the teams of the 2000s, or the 2010. You know, that decade, or that era in particular, that ends up making Vélez one of those predominant teams or dominant teams in not only just Argentine football, but also in South American football. You have to give him a great deal of credit when it comes to that. And maybe, just maybe, if the administrative end ends up getting their act together, maybe we end up seeing a Vélez that returns to prominence and returns to start to challenge Boca, River, Racing in this particular era, in this particular case. Would be quite interesting, would be quite compelling, and more importantly, would be quite exciting and quite refreshing to Argentine football.